The challenge for Season 4 is trying to improve on a third place finish and a domestic cup double with a budget of only 27 million. But the board only want mid-table, and the media predict a 10th place finish in the league. But we were helped out when Al Ittihad came in for Demiral with a £43 million bid. Not bad when we only signed him for free last year. And there'll be added pressure with opening games against Man United and Chelsea in the league. After 2 years unemployed, Arteta took the reins at Fulham, and his old club Arsenal came calling for us. Sorry Gunners, my job at Forest is far from complete. We spent the Demiral money on strengthening our squad, with Jose Gregara coming in from Brighton. Patrick Dorgu comes in from Lecce for under 10 million. Gazibegovic is our new right-back option, and we signed Wagner Pantiliao for the future. Matt Turner rocked us with a transfer request, so we spent big on Lucas Chevalier for 24 million, which drained our transfer budget, but we were still able to bring in Savio on loan from PSG. We had the chance to see what Manchester United were about early on when we took them on in the Community Shield, which we won on penalties thanks to the decisive miss by Rafa Varane. De Zerbi was the one who took the Arsenal job and spent big on Sancho and Vlahovic. Our league campaign started off at Old Trafford and we were denied 2 points by a late Garnacho equaliser. And our tricky start was amplified when Datro Fofana sunk us in the first home game of the season. We were able to take our first victory away at Everton's new ground, a result that's significant you'll find out later on in the video. I was shocked to see that PSG had splashed 60 million on Ndombele from Spurs, and we were handed some tricky fixtures in the Champions League, but there was definitely points to be won. Points that would hopefully mean prize money, as our finances aren't looking great at the moment. Then, on deadline day, Spurs activated the release clause of Per Schurz, which led to panic amongst our transfer team. But he turned them down and signed a new deal. Not all heroes wear capes. The randomness continues with Brighton appointing Robbie Keane. And Salah finally succumbed to the lure of Saudi Arabia. Gazibegovic opened his account with a screamer against Villa, which turned out to be vital as it helped us secure a 3-2 win. Our defence of the Carabao Cup kicked off with a 2-0 win away at Leicester, and we came from behind to beat Leeds next up in the league. What a win for us in the Champions League as we stuffed Celtic 5-0. At home to Bournemouth, Chevalier proved his worth by saving a Solanke penalty early on, before Elanga popped up in the box and secured a last-minute winner. Absolutely huge. And goals in the Champions League were coming thick and fast. We beat Young Boys 4-1 away. I'll let you make your own mind up about this penalty incident against Liverpool, which went on to cost us a draw. We didn't react well and went down 2-0 to City, including a penalty miss of our own, which meant we sit 8th in the league going into the international break. Lucky for us, we are massive and feel at home in the Champions League as we won again. And Morgan Gibbs-White decided to show his importance to us with a 90th minute winner against Fulham. A rotated side done the business against Palace, and then we thumped Spurs 4-0, get in, which meant heading into November we sat 3rd in the league. Villarreal were next in the Champions League, and they found it tough against us as well. We won 4-2 and marched on. Marched on to a very flat performance against Wolves in a 1-1 draw. Zidane was then sacked by Man United, and they wanted us to take over. It's another hard no from me. And Danilo thanked me for staying by hitting the winner against Leicester. He then repeated the trick against Milan 3 days later to secure us a playoff spot at minimum. Again though, we followed it up with a flat performance, this time against Brentford, and we then got drawn against their West London rivals in QPR for the FA Cup 3rd round. An even worse performance followed against the Hammers and we scraped a 0-0 draw. We were hanging on to 4th place by a thread and only 3 points ahead of United, who were 10th. Nothing like playing in the Champions League to rediscover some form, and we beat Marseille 3-1. With 2 games to go in the league phase, we sit top with 6 wins from 6. United turned to Nagelsmann to try and catch us in the league as we celebrated qualifying for the last 16 with 2 games to spare. Craig Mulholland promised us another excellent youth intake, and we had the 2nd place Arsenal up next in the league, which we managed to earn ourselves a credible draw. Angelo then done the business and put us into the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, where we were drawn against Liverpool. Furuhashi then became Fura hat-trick against Southampton, and then we were awesome beating Leeds 3-0 to follow. But there was too many pigs in blankets consumed at Christmas, and we fell to a 1-0 defeat to Robbie Keane's Brighton on Boxing Day. Zizou wasn't unemployed for long as Chelsea called upon the Frenchman, and we finished the year with a comfortable 2-0 victory against Palace. Going into 2027 4th in the league, but 9 points off top. And we had a ton of fixtures to get through in January, but we got off to the perfect start against Chelsea in a 2-0 win. Bruno Fernandes then missed a penalty against us and we held United to a 0-0. And a trip to Villa Park yielded a 3-3 draw. It was another draw, this time against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, but thankfully we had what it took to dispatch Coventry 5-1 in the FA Cup, to secure another home draw, this time against West Ham. We finished the UCL League phase with a whopping 3-0 win at home to Atleti, and then we scraped past Bournemouth for the second time this season. We had some transfer budget left going into deadline date, but a negative wage budget meant we could only bring in David Romero at the end of the season. There were 4 goals in the final 20 minutes against Liverpool, but thankfully we were on the right side of a 3-2 scoreline. But they got the last laugh, dumping us out of the Carabao Cup, beating us 3-2 in the second leg. We sat 4th in the league, but we had to go to top of the league, City up next. And we were still angry from the Liverpool game, and it showed as we smashed them 4-1. It was another forced door note as we couldn't hold on to a lead against Fulham, but we did have enough to knock out West Ham in the FA Cup. And the draw was again on our side as we'd be playing West Brom in the quarter-finals. But the up and down form continued as we lost 4-2 to Spurs. And then we tasted defeat for the first time in the Champions League as we went 1-0 down to Villarreal in the first leg. Wolves were up next in the league, and in typical fashion, we dispatched them 5-2. But our hearts were broken by Villarreal as we missed a crucial penalty in normal time before going on to lose on penalties and go crashing out of the Champions League. We managed to avoid an upset in the FA Cup as we comfortably beat West Brom 4-2. Then we drew against fellow top 4 team Everton despite having the better of the XG. That was a disappointing March done and dusted, but April didn't get off to a better start as we lost to Brentford. But Fura Hat-trick was back and he helped us to a 4-1 win away at St James's Park. And for once we backed it up as we beat West Ham 2-0 and followed that up by taking Leicester in front of their own fans. The semi-final of the FA Cup gave us a chance to extract revenge on Tottenham, which we did in stunning fashion as Awoniyi came off the bench to head us into the final with an extra time winner. A top 4 clash against Arsenal awaits, and they were shocked by superb Forest. The words of Planet Football, not mine. And we had 3 games to go in the league, and we were 5 points off Everton, who were top. Elanga scored the only goal as we beat Southampton, who were in good form at the time and had manager of their month in the dugout. And Everton lost, which meant we were only 2 points off top with 2 games to go. City above us do have a game in hand though, and we were determined to 1-0 our way to the title as we snuck past Brighton. And then City bottled their game in hand, which meant 2 points separated the top 4 going into the final day. A final day which was full of drama, with Bukayo Saka giving Arsenal the lead in the 35th minute, which was the only goal in the games involving the top 4 in the first half. The next goal came at the Bramley Dock Stadium as Milinkovic-Savic put away a penalty in the 49th minute to give Everton the lead against Spurs. And we were next to take the lead as Niakate put us ahead in the 56th minute. But Arsenal put the pressure back on everyone. Gabriel Jesus in the 65th minute, getting them to a 2-0 lead. And then Tottenham drew level thanks to a Riquelme own goal. It was very quiet at Ellen Road until Julian Alvarez put City in the lead in the 84th minute. A lead that was short-lived as Greenwood equalised for Leeds with 3 minutes to go. With Arsenal winning 2-0, we knew there was not much we could do, but a cleverly worked free kick from Palace saw Jamal Lewis score in the 96th minute. A goal that went on to cost us second spot. We finished 4th, 4 points behind Arsenal in the end, but only 2 points behind Everton with a superior goal difference, which would cost us about £4 million in prize money. Thankfully though, we do have the chance to end this season on a high as we take on Chelsea in the FA Cup final. And if you want to see if we can do that, you're going to have to tune in to the next episode. So you might want to subscribe to the channel and make sure you get a reminder. And while you're there, leave a like on this video. Every little helps.